What up, friends? How are you doing? So, I lied earlier when I said I didn't have anything to say. I knew there was something I had to say, but I didn't know what. It hadn't come to me yet, okay? Okay? This is about me. This is the honest to God truth. And I'm going to try to say it without crying. And I think that's why I couldn't say it earlier because you all know how emotional I am. But I think the most eye opening thing is not so much seeing other people's actions and everything that happened. And, you know, that was alarming. Yes, yes, it was. But that actually wasn't the hardest part of all of this because through my whole life, I've pretty much always gone through things like that where I was like misunderstood, right? So I was actually prepared, believe it or not. I think maybe that's why I didn't really. Well, at first I did react, because I was defending my honor. But I think that's why after a while I just didn't care because I've always been pretty much misunderstood like my whole entire life. Like, that's always been a thing. But once people get to know me, which is why I don't really let too many people in because it's just something that I've always done. I just keep people away just so that they won't judge me. But the most important thing that I've learned in this whole, you know, this whole year is that is my errors and the things that I did, because I didn't know. I don't know how to communicate with people. Well, I mean, I know how to communicate now, it's gotten better. But before, like, I didn't know how to communicate ever. Like, I didn't know how to properly articulate myself. I didn't know. Like, it was like just like always wanting to fight, like I don't know why. But I look at pictures from back then and I was happy at the time, right? When I first, started, this part of my journey, um, I was happy because I never actually stood up for myself, right? So that was happy, but that made me happy, but I was doing it incorrectly. When I look at photos of myself back then, there's kind of like a darkness to me, like to my face, like there's just something dark about me. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just me judging myself, but I see photos from back then and there's something like sinister. There's something that's like kind of like, and that's because I think that's probably because I hadn't, started like my shadow work and stuff like that. I was just barely getting started. So that's the hardest thing is seeing the errors in the errors that I made and acknowledging them and and not being proud of them. Like, I'm not proud of the stuff I said, the things I did. Um, I can't really give a reason why I did the things I did. I really don't know why I did a lot of those things or said those things to people. Like, I don't know. I really don't have. I really don't have an answer for that. But there was a lot going on, and when you're just used to kicking ass all the time, like that's what you do. Like, that's all you know how to do. So I didn't, and I can understand that my actions is what caused the reaction of others. I can see that now because I never looked back at my photos back then, and I'm a photo reader. I've never really actually read my own photos, right? You know, from from like what other people would see, and I do look troubled. I do look like, dang, like this girl. I look at myself from back then and like I look totally different. And so I can understand like people who probably, were looking at me like this bitch has issues. And yeah, I did have issues. I had a lot of them. But, I didn't know it at the time. I didn't realize it at the time. But, everything happened the way it happened in order for me to see me, like the way I was being, because I wasn't coming correct either. I was just, you know, I was just, I don't know what the fuck was wrong. I really don't have an excuse. Like, I was just acting out of pocket. I really was. And there's no excuse for it. No matter what was happening to me, you never want to, you know, you never want to spread that. If somebody's going to be saying whatever about you or whatever, it doesn't even matter. Like, that doesn't even matter. If you know it's not true, just ignore it. And that's what I should have did a long ass time ago. And I think there wouldn't have been such a reaction from others. You know what I mean? So I can understand that I was a bit rough around the edges. And that is why now it's not all my fault. It's not. But I can see just by looking at my photos. That's all people had to go by, right? Was my photos. Yeah, I do look like, I do look like trouble. I look like big trouble, okay? So I can understand that. And that's what I realized today. Like, because I was going through my photos from last year. And because, this time of year is rough for me. So I was going back, just looking and seeing, my pictures. And I look pretty, look pretty rough, okay? I look really bad. And I didn't realize it at the time, but, I was just working with what I had, which was not much. So I mean, that is the hardest thing out of all this, is going back, looking at yourself, your actions, taking the accountability, and understanding that I also played a part in it. You know what I mean? Anyways, but I'm not gonna lie, it was really hard looking at my old photos. And I love photos. I love looking at photos of myself. That sounds so conceited. No, no, that's not what I mean. Okay, I love looking back, right? But the photos from last year, I can't look at them. I can't look at my photos of myself because I can see that darkness. Like, I just look dark. So, anyways, that was just a lifelong of just disregarding myself and not paying attention to myself, not taking care of myself, not putting me first. So that's what that was. That was my doing. Like, it was my choice to ignore myself for so long, and in the end that was the result. That was my that was the that was my result. I guess I just lost it. And until I couldn't take it. But that was my own doing, and I just wanted to say that was the hardest part of all of this. All right, I gotta go. Bye.